stay here and relax.
Welcome back to the Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. Where, yeah, we're looking for Almata as the main quest, but first I want to look at the board for a side quest which appears to be listed here. Looks like we got a 4 SPG. Hidden Machines. I failed to mention this earlier, but I have a proposition for all of you. It is something of an extension of Crown Prince Sherry's request. But if you have a time, would you consider taking on the job? I'll be waiting for you at the park in Newtown. Oh, a request from a CID, huh? It's intriguing for sure. I wonder what they want to talk to us about. I'm not gonna say no to a potential rendezvous with Kayla. How about you? Ah, so you checked the bulletin board, did you? Me writing a 4 SPG? I never thought I'd see the day. Second Lieutenant Kayla. Wouldn't have killed you to be more direct instead of going the 4 SPG route. So am I speaking to Kayla or am I speaking to the CID? Yeah, sharp. This may seem a bit bureaucratic, but I submitted this request in the CID stat. It concerns the armed machines that were released in the city during yesterday's attack. We've confirmed that around half the number were destroyed, while most of the others retreated with Almata. But we have also received word that 2 high-spec units might still be at large within the city. Seriously? We did encounter a few machines fitting that description yesterday. I see. Yeah, the police probably have their hands full with them in the cleanup crew. But Marduk and the guild don't really tickle your fancy. Have I got that right? Exactly. Marduk's involvement was the result of the president's more heavy-handed approach. We're not too fond of that. This is more a matter of professional pride than anything. Special forces are due to arrive in the evening, and they're sure to complicate things. We'd much rather solve this problem ourselves. So you wanna loan us out to the CID for a day, is that right? It's not just for CID. The Principality requested this too, I assume. And whatever the case, we really can't have those things running loose. Makes sense-ish. Out of curiosity, was this Renee Kinkat's idea? He's put together his own task force to address the problem. We're negotiating with the president's office as we speak. At the risk of divulging too many details, he's been pushing for a separate division meant specifically for these tasks. Yeah, that tracks Guy's resourceful to a fault. This really is a job for Marduk or the guild, but I guess the CID doesn't want to swallow its pride. We ain't exactly free though, is the thing. We got other jobs to do. I guess we can look into this on the side. Lay it on me. Van. We might find a lead or something. You have my gratitude. Here's what we know about these rogue models. They're most probably the same as the models employed by Vegas Films and Farbot. Oh, those assholes. And 2 of them at that? You fought them before? They sound like a real hassle. Yep, cause they are. But how they're hiding in the city to begin with, they're too big. They got some kind of optic camera or something? Not to our knowledge. VX Alba has been patrolling and scanning the city from above since yesterday. Marduk has cleared out the smaller units we found, but the 2 large units have yet to be located. Kinkat does have a theory. He suspects that they are hiding in plain sight and using some sort of radar jamming device to avoid detection. Oh, I do remember hearing about special materials that can absorb or deflect orbital waves. Which means they're probably looking for a container that's made of this material, likely brought into the city recently. Either that or a van big enough to hold them. Probably pretty simple to deck one of those out in anti-radar stuff. No idea whether Almata's driving it around themselves though, or if they contracted that out to somebody. Think you can look into suspicious containers and transport vehicles for us? We focus on the stuff that's out on the road. We split up and we should have this cleared up pretty quickly. Understood. I mobilize the local authorities and notify Vaughn and the Artisans Guild. If either of us makes any headway, let's keep each other posted. Thank you very much. So what's the move? We hunt down every wayward van in town? We'll be out here all day. True, traffic in and out is closed, but plenty of vehicles remain inside city limits. The main arteries fan out in all sorts of directions. Searching them all would be time consuming. We got the cops on site, so we can't leave a crowd control to them. We just gotta pinpoint where the transport's most likely to be. Newtown and the artisanal district make the most sense to me. They've got the most traffic, freight especially. We get lucky, or I guess unlucky in this case, and we might fish us up a robot. Roger, so we need to find people who drive stuff a lot. Let's start asking around.
Time to go solve some problems. Why not stay here and relax?
Hey,
Can we talk?
do we know it? Do you know something? A sketchy transport vehicle. Let me think about that for a sec. A lot of cars go by, so... Well, now that you mention it, there was something funny this morning. There was? What did you see? Any details would be great, no matter how small. So, you know we've got the whole lockdown thing? And it got me thinking about how I wanted to do business today. And I figured, you know, people are still hungry, people need to pick me up, so I made my way out here, albeit a little later than usual. This big old transport van comes up, and something about it just seemed weird. Weird? Am I driving all funny? The opposite, actually. There was this little empty soda can sitting in the road. The transport just ran right over it, like made no attempt to avoid it. The whole van kinda shook a little. I got spooked and bolted out of the way, but the van just drove away like nothing happened. The nerves of a driver, honestly, stone cold. Oh, sounds like there's more to this story. That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Because then it turned right at the fork in the road ahead. And when it did, I heard a thud. I think whatever it was moving got shuffled around. At first I thought maybe it was some machining tool funking around in there, but you'd think they'd stack them so that they don't do that. But like before, it just drove right off without a care in the world. I almost felt like I was just imagining things. I see. Did you catch what make the vehicle was? Yeah, it was a Red Star, big one. Probably some delivery company. But it didn't have a logo or branding or anything on it. The van was just unmarked, kinda weird. Yeah, that's a bit whack. Thanks a bunch, but that's some real good info. Glad to hear it. Anything to help. God knows we all need it right now. But I heard things are looking up. They said they're gonna open the road back up tonight. Just gotta hold out a little longer. We'll find a way. Thank you very much.
Why not stay here and relax?
Okay, artisanal district.
Heading to the objective.
Now then.
I just did a delivery run to get some repair materials that were needed in the city. I'm really glad my truck didn't get dinged up. I can use it to help everybody out here. Whatever folks need, I can load it up and haul it over.
Let me ask you something. Well,
You wanna know if I've seen a suspicious freight truck? Bit of an odd thing to ask. Well, yes it is. Sorry for just dumping that on. Nah, I'm just giving you guff. I did actually see something like that last night. You did? So, what was suspicious about it? Well, deliveries last night were all way behind schedule because of all the craziness in the city. We eventually got everything sorted out, even with that big old eye in the sky watching us all. So I finally wrap up my work. It's late at night and I'm tired as hell. I start driving back toward my home on the edge of town. I'm waiting at one of the lights and then I see this giant Red Star truck pull up next to me. It had a really weird color scheme to it. Never seen a Red Star painted like that. Had to be from out of town, I figured. But I figured, hey, he's a tired old dog like me, driving at ass o'clock. I'll give him a wave. I look out of my window and forget it. When I say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous. I must have just been seeing things. Hey, come on, don't leave us hanging. You might not have been seeing things after all. Won't you tell us, please? Alright, just don't laugh at me, okay? I looked at the window and there was no one behind the wheel, just nothing. Huh? What do you mean? Just nobody in the driver's seat at all? I'm as puzzled as you are. Before I could really process it, the light turned green and the truck rolled on away. I had to put my eyes back on the road after that. I never saw the truck again. It really only dawned on me when I got home. Maybe the driver was just on the short side. The truck was definitely taller than mine too. Maybe I just couldn't see him. Either that or I was tired as all get out. I might just been seeing things. So yeah, that's how it seemed to me at the time, but honestly, it was probably nothing. Moral of the story here is that everybody needs to sleep. You can't go burning the at all just because you can, you know? Lesson learned, yeah. We take care of ourselves. Take it easy yourself, yeah? That sounds like the kind of thing a single good night's sleep won't fix. Oh, for sure. The city's still off until tonight, so I'm gonna try and take it slow if we got nothing to do. Nice, we got way more clues here than I expected. The two accounts we heard both involved the Red Star transport, which leads me to believe we're dealing with one and only one vehicle. I'm still freaking out about the whole driverless truck thing. Don't blame you, the fact that it happened at night turns this whole thing to a bona fide ghost story. There's probably a logical explanation though, and I'm sure Katra can provide it. Wait, for real? Oh, is it related to the technology you have insider knowledge about? Correct. I believe it is utilizing tech that is currently in the R&D phase of development in many countries. It's called an automated vehicle. It allows a person to go from place to place without lifting a finger, because a hollow core is doing the driving. The fact that it kept going in spite of the empty soda can makes me strongly suspect it's an AI-controlled vehicle. My suspicions were correct then. Ren told me a little about this before. Wow, that's so cool. So that means it wasn't a ghost? Whew. Well, you never know, maybe there was a driver until his shitty job worked him to death. Now he lives on as a vengeful ghost behind the wheel. Wait, what's that? Oh shit. It's right behind you, Farida. Ah, hey, there's nothing there. You should have seen the look on your face. Why are you like this? You want me to stop calling you a kid? Stop acting like one. Back on topic, there was an incident regarding unmanned driving tech. Everybody in the underworld was going on and on about it at the time. So I'm amazed this thing is driving around the city without causing any problems. It's kinda insane. I'm not too surprised. You could prevent most accidents by connecting it to the traffic management system and the info on the city roads. The technology should be state-of-the-art. In fact, I suspect it's the same tech that causes Professor Callaghan's downfall. Oh, I'm sorry, Katra. You have nothing to be sorry for. And I'm alright, promise. Now's not the time to wallow in sentimentality. So what's the plan, Van? The AI's functionality and pattern could make it quite difficult to capture. I know, normally I'd be fine with dumping this on the second lieutenant of a corps. But I'm a car lover at heart, and I do not like seeing them used as vehicles or bringing weapons into the city. This shit is personal. Figures. Well, any bright ideas, Chief? First order of business is seeing how far this AI can really go. Also, I'm gonna bring on some outside help for this gig. What kind of outside help? Do you have somebody in mind? Yep. I heard they'd be here. Van used the cipher to get in touch with some familiar faces in Basel. The party then headed to the motor pavilion in Newtown, where they were waiting. Good, then back to Newtown and the motor pavilion.
Go, go, go!
Why not stay here and relax?
What's going on?
So who are we contacting? Uniform? Yep. Ah, Van, so did we get all that right? You want us kings of the road to chase down an AI intruder, huh? Don't underestimate them. You really don't know what you're getting into. Neither do I, to be honest. It does sound hard to believe, yeah. I couldn't really go too in-depth on the call, sorry. That's freaky, a giant van just driving around all by itself? And it's carrying assault robots inside too? Yeah, it's pretty far-fetched, but honestly, I'm intrigued. We street racers take pride in our skills. I'm not about to let some beep-boop bastard one-up me. Well, being an AI, it can process things much faster than you. Without a plan to catch it, would probably outmaneuver you. No sweat. We'll show that bucket of balls what real people can do. So what's the plan, man? Well, here's what I'm thinking. We get my truck and your 2 cars. Van outlined his 3-pronged attack to the group, using a map of Basel's roads for reference. Making sure not to overlook the robots themselves, he made combat preparations as well. Yo, we're all set here. We've got our cars ready to go. Wanna get this show on the road? Combat will ensure upon beginning the operation. Get rolling! Let's hit the road. You got a beat on transport cutter? Yes, I've pinged them on the traffic network. They're patrolling the streets in specific patterns. They're due to come by here in around 20 minutes. Well, there really is no one behind the wheel. Tinted glass too, they got this shit figured out. The transport has probably optimized its driving style to evade pursuers. Are you sure you can handle it? Safety first, remember, don't overextend. Best of luck! Damn, she could take me for a ride like that. She really is her uncle's niece. How's the traffic looking? No congestion as far as I can tell. We can get it cornered. We got it. Perfect. Get with the ID, the Basel police and the traffic guys. Right. With this cutter, I invoke emergency authority to request a temporary road closure. Looks like it gave up. If machines can even do that, I don't know. Perhaps it simply wasn't programmed to handle these sorts of situations? Nah, it ain't that easy. The machines are booting up! Unified Graham, get back! Right. So it was carrying those things. So, these are warrior models. I see what you mean, they're from Marduk, no doubt. Yeah, these are the ones from Vegas films, alright. 2 at once is gonna be tough. Be careful, guys! On the flip side, we know how they work. Let's send them to a scrapyard where they belong. The joints are their weak points according to Reset. Focus on those. Let's clean them up before word gets on the street.
Give me your worst.
Maximum boost. Displaying stats. Time to go all out. Activating drive. Might want a boost here.
Going all in.
Dispatching shield.
Bring it on.
Use a sharp boost to get the upper hand. Keep it up, it's working.
Over here. All for you.
Dispatching shield.
You'll be sorry for that.
Now's a good time to boost.
Time to go all out. Keep it
I'm
up,
out.
it's working.
I've got this.
Now's your chance to boost. Initiating drive. There.
On yes.
Here goes.
What was that animation? You know, with the attack going off to the side?
Might want a boost here.
Going all in.
Too late. You're toast.
My move now.
Use a sharp boost to get the upper hand. Keep it up. It's working.
You're not getting away. Blast off! All you on, yes.
Maximum boost.
Make it count.
Going all in.
No, you don't.
Here's our chance.
Now's your chance to boost. Initiating drive. Dispatching shield. There!
On yes!
Perfect chance! Might want to boost here. Keep it up. It's one skill, clear right up. Yes! There! Yeah!
There!
That's how it goes.
I did it! I'm stronger than ever.
We got him! Woo! Oh man, that was like a movie shot. Ha! That all you got? That felt so much easier than the one we took down in Farbad. Reset's info really came in handy there. How often do you go around fighting things like that? I mean, ain't like you want to, it just sorta happens. Now let's figure out how to shut off that auto-driving thingy. Right, I got to work on... Huh? Are you shitting me? Get back! Ah! Whoa! Ah, look out! Get away from that thing! A third one? Seriously? Bastard, wait for us to let our guard down. I hold it off, you guys get back up. Guild, Marduk, whoever, I don't care. Van, don't! What are you... What the... What's inside her purse? Don't be a hero, dipshit, this is serious. No need, backup has arrived. Kayla! And...
You let your guard down.
Shit, close your eyes.
Perish.
Aha! An optical weapon? That's his Buster Lance. He showed me it back home once. Incredible. I see now how you earned your title, Kamsin. You had the measure of the situation from the very start, didn't you?
This was nothing more than our response as a part of crisis management. Our firm's concierge has previously analyzed the situation. I will leave the rest to the CID and the local police, as well as them. Farewell.
Kasim? That attack was incredible. He took out the robot in one fell swoop. Went right for the joints too, just like she said. It looked like he barely lifted a finger. Well, this is Marduk's ace we're talking about. That's just what he does. But hey, all's well that ends well, right? We still got the credit for it. That in and of itself is aggravating, but I'm in no position to complain. At any rate, thank you for completing my request. Given you did hunt down 3 units instead of 2, your reward will be adjusted accordingly. Much thanks to you too as well. Oh, we didn't do much. Yeah, I'm just glad I got to have a good race. Talk about stealing the spotlight. What are we, chopped liver? Yeah, I still got a long way to go before I can rival my brother. I'm just glad we put a stop to those robots for good, even if it wasn't all us. Yeah, you have my thanks as well. Who knows what damage I would have caused if I left unchecked. Don't sell yourself short, bud. You helped a bunch too. Plenty more where that came from. Let's keep Almata on their toes. Right, of course. With some fiddling, Quattro managed to decouple the auto-drive unit from the transport vehicle. After the local authorities conducted their own investigation, the traffic restrictions were lifted and all was back to normal.
That's a wrap.
Or deposited.
Good. Law and Grey.
Heading to the objective.
So, let's look around for clues on Almata. Beginning with a Bracer Guild. For a moment I thought this was the food truck. You couldn't have timed your arrival better. Ren, we weren't expecting to find you here. You want something from us? The opposite. I have something for you. A little piece of intel. Do you have to go blabbing to them about it? Hey, don't spoil the fun, Killjoy. Ladies don't like a hard ass. Excuse me? Alright, boys, simmer down. Now's not the time for mouthing off. So what's this info about? To the surprise of no one, Almata was behind the explosion in Anchorville. It sounds like it's a mess out there right now, after word got out that Almata had corporate help. Yeah, a lot of high-ranking bracers are stuck there right now, trying to sort everything out. Honestly, I'd really rather be out there right now, but we're tied up here. Yeah, after yesterday, we're not leaving anytime soon. Indeed, I'm still positive that the attack in Enterville was just a diversion. Basel has to be the main target. In fact, we know a little more about the agents who unleashed the archaisms on the city yesterday. I strongly believe it was the same duo you met in Langport. Them again? Viola and Alexander. They caused a ton of trouble back in Langport too. That's certainly not good. That said, we shouldn't have to worry about them here now that Marduk is in town. How many men have they got? We're talking just one area or the whole city? They have enough people on the ground to rival a large Jäger Corps and with vastly better equipment. The Chief of Security in particular, he's a real force of nature. Of course, I imagine you all know that pretty well already. Kasim. Yep, Gramsci described him as one of the strongest Jägers to walk the earth. It's funny, guy's got this baby face, and he doesn't even look 30, but he gives off this vibe like he could kick your ass into next week. At any rate, the city's in good hands of him patrolling around. We still gotta figure out what Armada's plotting next though. Speaking of, you confirmed those two you encountered yesterday were connected to the gardens, correct? Yeah, said they were overseers. That checks out. They've got 4 units and an overseer in charge of each one. The two of them seem to be connected to Almata differently though. Melchior is both an overseer and a high-ranking executive in Almata, but his cohort said she was only a contractor. Talk about complicated. I wonder what the story there is. We're not much wiser than you guys were, unfortunately. What we do know is that the most monstrous mafia and the most vile assassins to ever live have joined hands, and that's not good. Indeed. After we have Basil taken care of, we'll need to devise a strategy for dealing with them. Have you managed to learn anything more about what Armada's up to here? Unfortunately not. If anything, we were hoping you might have a lead on where Professor Callaghan might be. I wish I did, but I'm not too familiar with the geography of this area. I tried to see if I could find anything on the net, but they covered their tracks, unfortunately. Sorry for coming up empty-handed. Don't worry about it. It really wasn't going to be that easy. Aside from that, my only other advice is to keep the septium veins in mind. They're more relevant than you might think. The septium veins? I recall Rosette mentioning those recently, actually. They do have a tendency to affect the orbital network in particular. At first glance they appear unrelated. We had no way to prove they were at all related. Until a certain phenomenon in Crossware demonstrated that the two can affect each other under the right conditions. This incident here is eerily reminiscent of what happened a year and a half ago. It's just a hunch though. Well, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks for the pointer. Well, we gotta get back to tracking down Callaghan. What are you 3 up to? We'll be doing more rounds to keep the city under control. We can't just leave it all to Marduk. Yeah, they're good, don't get me wrong. But they're even shadier than you guys are. I don't trust them. I'll be helping out too. Until there's some other development that demands my attention. I need to keep an eye on all the other students as well. We're all waiting here for you, Agnes. Odette and Albert too, don't forget that, okay? I won't. Please be careful when... I'll keep looking on my end, of course. A certain factory is counting on me among other people and groups. I can't exactly turn a blind eye to all of this. I've left Sasha in charge of the other students. I'm sure she'll be able to handle things for the rest of the day. I'd like to have another chat with Professor Cronkite too, if I get the chance. I hope my hunch is off, but if it isn't, I'll have lots of things to look into. We're gonna head out pretty shortly ourselves. Alex should be able to hold down the fort, especially with Wen helping out. If Almata does want Basel, there's no way this was their only planned attack. They're gonna be back for more someday. That's all the more reason why we've got to stop them in their tracks. Zin has told me that Wen was capable, and goodness, he wasn't kidding. Capable is almost underselling her. She had our issues diagnosed in a flash. She even pointed out the potential link between the network and the Septium veins too. She's wise beyond her years for certain. It's a shame that experience had to come from the sort of trouble she referenced. But she's an excellent mind. We can't push all the work onto her. She's still a child after all. We adults need to pull our own weight. I might have broken a bone or two, but I'll be okay. It shouldn't slow me down all that much. I just can't believe what they did to Professor Callaghan. They really are dangerous. I agree, but please, don't push yourself. Just leave this to us, alright? We'll sort this out, promise. I'm sure you will. You can't have Marduk showing us up more than they already have. This is gonna be really sketchy with Blanca out of commission. But we can't let that get to us. We gotta cover for her. We're counting on you too. Let us know if you learn anything out there. I'm ashamed that you had to see me like that yesterday. I have no excuses. They overpowered me, plain and simple. Don't beat yourself up over it. I got one of my guys too. Happens to the best of us. Just getting out of there alive is reason enough to celebrate. I agree, and the fact that you were able to hold them off that long bought us valuable time. Guess you're right, yeah. Look on the bright side, huh? We need your help, and a whole lot more, if we're to even stand a chance against Almata in the gardens. We're counting on you. Don't let them get away with this. We won't. That goes without saying. You bet your ass we'll bring them justice. Good. Where else are the hints? Giscard's factory. Give it another look. Combat real thorough this time. Yes, Chief. Is something wrong? Anything we can help with? I wish it was that simple, but nope. Ain't nothing you folk can help with. Guess it wouldn't hurt to fill you in, though. What? Parts for that weapon prototype went missing? Yep. We found it out when we were looking into Callaghan's disappearance. Most of the parts are still here. It's not like the whole thing up and vanished. But there's little bits and pieces of our inventory missing. Our order sheets don't add it up. And we haven't been able to find the missing parts anywhere. It's not just a few of them either. We're missing a huge chunk of inventory. Too much stuff to count. Well, that's a bit alarming. You're talking about that weapon you've shown us earlier, right? Yeah, that definitely ain't good. And you're right. I don't know how we could help with that. Smells like an inside job to me. No way a world-famous Giscard workshop just loses track of inventory like that. Damn straight, a lot of us here know about the weapon, but it's still a highly confidential project. We've taken extra steps to make sure nothing gets out. And of all the times this had to happen right after I went and mouthed off 1,000. Shameful, I tell ya. You order parts online, don't you? Remember you showed me how the system works? Do you think that inventory shortfall might be related to the network problems the city's been having? Our youngster suggested the same thing. It's not entirely off the table, no. I just like to think we were being more careful than that. How could we not be, given everything going on? That's understandable, yeah. I find it hard to believe it was just an accident with how careful everyone's been. This feels premeditated. Yeah, with all the weird shit going on, it's hard to chalk anything up to coincidence right now. There's just so much going on. We keep an eye out for any leads about your parts, though. Thanks, man. I'm sorry, folks. You've got enough on your plate without us and your stupid supply hiccups. We're still trying to find Callaghan, but we haven't got any good leads yet. Our best guess is that he's somewhere off the beaten path. Might hold himself up somewhere on purpose, even. That does sound like a good guess. Well, if you learn anything, let us know. So we didn't have enough on our plate. Now we've got this. We look real bad right now. Now if we screw up the math on this, the numbers don't add up, so we must have made a mistake somewhere and compounded on it. We look into this, but we've got our hands full with Callaghan too. If you guys learn anything, let us know, alright?
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Congrats. Oh, there he is. I'm glad we didn't have to go on a wild goose chase to find you. If it isn't the Spriggan, you look like you have something more to discuss with me. Damn right we do. I imagine you're already privy to the situation, so we don't need to bring you up to speed. Right now we're trying to get everything under control ourselves before the government intervenes any further. So that's why we wanted to ask you about me. What exactly do I have to do with all this? I will admit my curiosity is piqued by the developments here. Marduk is an interesting wrinkle in the story, as are Professor Callaghan's, shall we say, inadvisable efforts. I do plan to stay and watch how this all pans out, but as I said yesterday, can you at least let me finish before dismissing me? I've had to face a lot of hard truths over the past few days. I've been made to realize just how lacking I am and how much I still have to learn. I know that's impossible to rectify all of that overnight. There are still things I want to protect no matter the cost. All I want is for your feedback on a hypothesis of mine. I won't ask for any more of your help than that. Go on. Professor Callaghan all but lives on the network now. But that goal of his contradicts the actions he took. One thing doesn't add up to me. Why did he simply let the Mafia destroy the Aurora? That's a good question. I agree. That's an obvious contradiction. If they intend to use weapons of mass destruction, they must figure out how to invent and produce them. They simply don't exist yet. Professor Callaghan's AI only solved one part of the problem. Even with functional blueprints, there are no means to produce them. The AI is essential to their research efforts. It holds more computational power than any other machine in Basel. And if they no longer have it, that begs another question. How will they produce these nuclear weapons without the means to invent them? An astute observation. Can't say no, can you? Something tells me you wanted to help him out all along, in spite of your crotchety old man act. I'm simply giving him the feedback he requested. It will be up to him to prove his theory, or judging from what I've heard so far, he'll find the answers soon enough. Young. You're correct. People do not grow and change overnight. But having watched you, I can see how you've matured over the years. I look forward to seeing you grow into a well-rounded scientist, just as Professor Hamilton did. Thank you, I will. He really is like a brother to you, huh? He's more helpful than he wants to admit. Curious where he's going after he leaves Basel, but I guess that ain't my business. I agree, and besides, it's not our place to tell him how to live his life. We need to focus on our own work right now. You're right. We've got a lot of info to work with now. Yeah, but I can't wrap my head around how it all fits together. Maybe talking it out will help? Is there a place we can chat in private? We can always head back to the inn. Actually, how about you all come to my place? You won't have to worry about people listening in there. Oh no, we couldn't impose on you like that. I really don't mind, and neither would Professor Hamilton. It's her house, but I'm the only one who lives there right now. Cool, we take you up on your offer. Kinda curious to see the home of one of Epstein's 3 disciples. Oh, I wouldn't expect too much, it's just a normal family home. Anyway, we can head over there whenever you like. Now, does this change the day? Probably not. They usually give you a warning. This is cinnamon coffee, huh? Kinda has a different fragrance to it, but it's not bad. The professor's a big fan of it, so I've had it a lot. I've heard it's pretty popular over in the Central East. Yeah, I drank it a lot back home. Always with milk, though. I could see myself getting addicted to this fragrance. It pairs perfectly with chocolate, too. We've got ourselves a little slice of heaven here. Will someone put a sock on this guy already? You're a big fan of sweet things, huh? You seem to like the Ongadon too. He can't help himself, I'm afraid. It feels so strange to have this place be so lively again. I've been the only one here for so long now. Yang and Essie are so busy with their work, they can only afford to drop by every once in a blue moon these days. That's too bad. So you were still really young when you were adopted by the professor? That's right, though I'd rather skip how it came about. Even though we're not related by blood, she treated me like a real grandchild. As soon as I started taking an interest in technology and absorbing anything I could, she would always find time in her busy schedule to teach me. After that, I started visiting the observatory a lot, because that was where she did her research. My interest in astronomy led to Yang and Essie teaching me all kinds of things along with her. I was a complete nobody, and yet they chose to make me part of their family. They seem like absolutely lovely people. I can see why you're so desperate to protect everything they left behind in their absence. But I failed. The Aurora was destroyed. Reset suffered just to keep me safe. I don't know how I'm going to be able to face the professor when she comes home. Like Reset said, there's a lot of people around who love you. This might be a good time to learn to lean on them a little more. You are not alone, Katra. Yeah, I'm coming to realize that too. I thought I'd learned that lesson when we all came together to finish Theo and Zeros. But apparently I was a few steps away. I could never have done that on my own. It took Grant's help, Yang and Essie's help. Even Professor Callaghan played a pivotal role in getting the job done. Really? Professor Callaghan helped make your orbital drones? I remember hearing that he used to stop by here, despite being Hamilton's rival, but it's still hard to imagine. You all only know him as he is now, but like I said yesterday, he wasn't always like that. He was the leading figure in the field of engineering science. He even designed a whole lot of the current Republican Army's weaponry. He used to be something of a rival to Professor Hamilton and us, but both sides fully respected one another and took it as a way for all of us to grow. It was because Professor Callaghan and Professor Hamilton joined forces that they were able to create the Aurora too. Actually, what is it? What did he want off? I found it. That looks a lot like the Aurora. Yeah, not exactly the same, but pretty damn close. It is. It's part of another idea that was considered during the planning stages for the Aurora. It was to be one half of a twin-core system that was modeled after the left and right sides of a human brain. The two systems will perform totally different calculations in tandem with one another, much like our brains do. In the end, budgetary constraints meant that only the Aurora was completed, but a prototype version of the other system was made. So then there's effectively a prototype of the central computer from yesterday out there somewhere? I did think it was weird that they destroy the Aurora considering the endgame. But if Professor Callaghan was one of the developers behind the whole project, it would make sense if he gave him that prototype too. If we assume that is the case, that'll significantly help in narrowing down where it could be now. Could you give me a hand finding the other documents we have on it here? Of course. Just tell us what you want us to do. I guess I can put the work in. But if you can't pinpoint where the thing is after we find all that stuff you want, I'm gonna force you to run butt naked through a Basel. Yeah, whatever. And yes, I need you to find a map of the septium veins in this area. He sure picked himself up fast. He's a hell of a lot more grown up than you are, that's for sure. Odd abandoned factory, I think that's our place. That's the place where a lot of the research leading to the last generation of gunships was done, right? The area was sealed off a while ago because it was so worn down. But you really think we're gonna find our target there? I'd say the odds are about 90%. I tried taking the waveforms of the distortions of the orbital and energy supply networks, then combining them with a map of the septium veins. The only place that matches the data is big and quite enough to hide the device of the Aurora's size, and is still close enough to Basel to interfere with the orbital network. Nowhere else is as good a match as this. That's some confidence. But I don't think it's misplaced. This area matches everything we know so far. An abandoned factory far from civilization seems like the perfect place for Almata to use as a hideout. What are you doing? Congratulating you on a job well done. I'm sure even the genius professor would be impressed by your efforts here. I wouldn't be so sure about that. It's just a guess right now. We won't know for sure until we make our way over there. Well, we've come this far. Time to finish this lack of a race. I agree. It's 2 PM already, so we don't have much time. I think we should let Ren, the guild, and the CID know what we're doing. The abandoned road leading to the factories on the bottom level of Newtown, on the other side of a locked gate. My certification card will get us through it. I'm ready to leave as soon as you all are. Got it. We'll head on over as soon as we're ready then. They informed Ren, the guild, and the CID that they're going to make their way to Odd Abandoned Road. Good, but I would end the episode here. Next time we take a look around about all what's going on, talking to some NPCs and all that. And after that we go to Odd Abandoned Factory. Good. Until next time then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.